Hey, it's Thomas DeLauer, and today I want to talk about my 5 favorite sugar substitutes. 5 different ingredients that I use to replace traditional refined sugar that is a total load of garbage because it's full of chemicals or it's just so refined it has no nutrients left in it. So I'm going to dive right in. The first one that I want to talk about is simply raw honey. Okay, I'm talking about pure, unadulterated raw honey. The cool thing about honey is it's not even technically a sugar. It's more of a whole food. It contains a lot of different properties, like seriously powerful antioxidants. So they help get rid of what's called that reactive oxygen species in our blood. That basically is whenever our cells have waste, whenever our cells are going through metabolism, they have this reactive oxygen species waste. Well, honey can actually help eradicate that. Additionally, if you simply replace your sugar that you would normally be consuming with raw honey, you can dramatically reduce the impact on your blood sugar levels. This is because, typically speaking, raw honey is lower glycemic, which means it's going to have a lower impact on your blood sugar in general. And it means it's going to give you more of a gentle bell curve with your blood sugar levels and your insulin spike versus a big, giant, sharp spike and drop off. Now, there are some other benefits to raw honey other than the fact that it's sweet, it tastes good, and it's a food. It's the fact that it contains bee pollen, which has a lot of powerful properties. What this bee pollen can do inside your body is actually act as something that's going to prevent allergies for given local areas. So if you are consuming local honey, you can help your allergies out by simply just consuming that honey. It sort of builds up an antibody or sort of a histamine blocker, if you will, basically towards that ultimate allergen. One thing that people don't touch on a lot when it comes to raw honey is the fact that it contains some electrolytes. See, there's different minerals in it, unlike refined sugar, which is stripped of all of that. So that means if you're replenishing yourself after any kind of activity later on in the day, I've talked about in other videos why you may not necessarily want to immediately replenish glycogen with honey or fructose, but later on in the day, you can help yourself get your electrolytes restored so you feel a little bit better. Now, additionally, and this is one of my favorite ones, so you've seen my videos on this, when you consume honey, you restore your liver glycogen at a different rate than you would if it was just a simple refined sugar. This means you get all the benefits of restoring liver glycogen without the negative side effects. Benefits being you're simply going to help your serotonin levels out. What happens is when you consume carbs and your liver glycogen fills up, it triggers the release of tryptophan. This tryptophan cascades and helps the production of serotonin, which helps you chill out and helps you go to sleep. The next one I want to talk about is something called Dolcetti, and it's really not that popular, and honestly, I don't know why. You can find it at Whole Foods, you can find it at most high-end grocery stores. What it is an apple nectar, and it averages between 7 and 9 on the glycemic index scale. That's ridiculously low. That's like such a low impact, that's like lettuce, and this stuff is so sweet. Now, there hasn't been a lot of research in terms of the benefits. In fact, it's not really having a lot of different vitamins and minerals. The fact is it's derived from organic apples, and it is definitely a low glycemic alternative to traditional sugar. The next one I want to talk about are dates. You should go on lots of dates. I mean, you should eat lots of dates. So the reason that dates are so good is simply because they're super high in fiber, which means that in addition to getting the carbohydrate sweet benefit, it negates a lot of the negative impact by having a high amount of fiber, meaning your overall amount of net carbs is much less than if you were to just have pure sugar. But additionally, super high in potassium. So if you are trying to restore, again, muscle glycogen, you're trying to restore yourself after a workout, definitely good to get those high amounts of potassium. One of the ones that a lot of people don't want to simply talk about is that very similar to the prune family, they're going to help you out with that irregularity. And let's face it, something we never really want to talk about, but we all face it from time to time. So no better way than to sweeten a dish, sweeten a pie that you're making, but also be able to keep everything moving nice and smooth so you can absorb your nutrients the next day. All right, so the next one I want to talk about is coconut sugar. And coconut sugar has a huge component to it that I am a big fan of. And that is the fact that coconut sugar contains something called inulin. Inulin is what is called a prebiotic fiber. If you've seen my videos talking about prebiotics and probiotics, you know that prebiotics are essentially the fertilizer for gut bacteria. We need that fertilizer for our gut bacteria to grow, to flourish, to proliferate, so that we can actually have a healthy gut biome. We have to take care of that. Now, coconut sugar containing that inulin gives us one of the most powerful and one of the only natural sources of fiber that we can get to help that process. Rather than eating stalks and stalks and stalks of asparagus, Maybe just make a pie with some coconut sugar. Now, in addition to that, also has a huge amount of magnesium and potassium. Super good when it comes to electrolytes and can help you out again when it comes to just replenishing yourself after a workout or just after a long day in the sun. Lastly, this is one that you've probably heard of before, and it's simple agave nectar coming from that cactus. I'm not talking about making tequila. If you want to go that far, you can, but I'm talking about pure agave syrup. One of the biggest reasons that I'm a fan of agave syrup is simply the fact that it's right in the sweet spot when it comes to the glycemic index. It's not so low that it's barely going to have an impact, but it's not so high that it's going to spike your blood sugar all over the place. It's right smack in the middle, so it's just enough to refuel your muscles, to refuel your liver, but without getting the negative implications. Now, you'll see agave used in a lot of different recipes. You'll see agave used when it comes to fighting inflammatory bowel disease and things like that. Very easy on the body to break down. So you end up having a much more bioavailable form of sugar, bioavailable form of energy that you can get when using agave. Now, when it comes to the best use of agave, I would honestly vote coffee. And here's why. The acidity of coffee combined with the very cool taste of agave actually makes a pretty darn good tasting combination. Agave's got a really cool, kind of tangy taste. It's not powerful, but it's very cooling. So if you're ever using it on some spicy dishes to add a little bit of sweetness, it's perfect for that. But in terms of coffee, hands down, best combination that you can possibly do. So there you have it, my 5 simple alternatives to sugar. I know it's not super sciencey like a lot of my videos, but a lot of people have asked for more listicle style videos like this, giving my favorite kinds of foods. So at least now you have some alternatives to sugar. You have some alternatives to big industry, big sugar industry, trying to cram refined sugar down our throats all the time. You have something to combat that with. As always, keep it locked in here on my videos, and if you have suggestions for other videos, be sure to comment below and let me know what you've got in mind. I'll see you soon.